There is a rare phenomenon happening right now across the globe. As of about 3 minutes ago, 7:15 Eastern Time, 99% of the entire world's population is facing the sun. That means we're all experiencing some degree of sunlight at the exact same time, either full daylight or, for a lot of other folks, twilight. If you look at the map right there, just the Pacific Islands and Australia, the Australian region, are fully in the dark. 99% of the world.
What a cool phenomenon.
Across the globe.
All right. Welcome back, family. Glad to be here. This is unique, historic, a little bit different. I will be streaming from, if I can point the right direction, Creation Standard, as well as our FEB channel. And we have a major blessing today. We'll be joined by George Nuber again, sharing some of the wisdom our Father has led him to when it comes to things that would be impossible on the sun god worshiping model. And I'm not meaning to offend anyone by calling it that. I'm not saying that you're a sun god worshiper if you believe in that model. I believed in that model. I was not a sun god worshiper. But I've been looking into some things. It's getting dark, finding out how much sun god worship ties into this model, the one that we all grew up believing in, or most of us. I don't want to speak for everybody, but it's one of those things that it is fun to put to the test. We've been testing it for years, going on 8 years now, and the proofs for biblical creation are adding up. And I am blessed now to be teaching full-time the proofs of biblical creation from both the standpoint of what we live on, as well as the creation itself, the life. And so Earth and Life Science, doing that from Creation Standard. So that's why we are streaming from both. We can answer questions if there's any students joining in. So technically, this is one of our first ever guest speakers for Creation Standard, and also just a powerful, powerful presentation. I've had the chance to look at it. George has done quite the work, and it goes beyond just 99% of the world receiving sunlight. It's one of those things that will blow Eratosthenes. And I used to say sticks and shadows out of the water, but I'm finding out it's obelisks, not sticks. They've changed it to sticks, and now it's wells. Who knows what it'll be in the future, but just some amazing things that George, he sent to me. And normally I can't understand his slides. I have to break them down and learn algebra and trigonometry. But I think you guys will appreciate this stuff. It's a little more simplified than the usual. And so the former architect, I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. I think he still does it on the side, so I don't want to stay. He's completely retired. I believe he still uses that gift for the good of humanity. But here he is, George Nuber, the humble truth soldier. Thanks, George. How are you?
Great. How are you doing, Josh?
Blessed to have you, brother.
Always a blessing to be with you and to proclaim God's truth.
Amen.
Everybody. So
yeah, I can feel the spirit moving with George's truth when he does these things, man. It's powerful. I think it's going to really help you guys just further solidify the truth of creation for how it is. And so he's got quite the presentation, and we'll break it down. He'll come back, hopefully, and we'll do more of this series and add to it. I called it the final observation. That's sort of misleading, kind of like the final experiment. You never want to do science and then just go, all right, we're done. That was it. That's the final one. But just kind of a play on words there, because it's not really an experiment. It's an observation. It does take some variables, kind of like an experiment, but it's an observation that you can make yourself in this worldwide truth community, we can call on people everywhere to tell us where the sunlight is at. So it's hard to hide that. So yeah, we'll let George go ahead and take the floor. You guys, if you have questions, if I see questions from Creation Standard, I'll try to keep an eye on them towards the end. But pay attention, and I'll break this down for our Creation Standard students. If any of you are watching, I'm going to try to break this down, not simplify it as if you can't understand it, but break it down in more manageable portions so we can study it out throughout the duration, because he has gifted us with these presentations in general. So thank you so much, George.
You're welcome. All right.
Let me see. Let me pull up. You go ahead and pull up presentation number 1.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So presentation number 1, guys, this is going to make sense. I'm telling you, it's really cool.
So this is what the introduction was for the start of this live stream. We're going to look at what really occurs on July 8th, because for years, and I've noticed it too, especially for the past 2 years, the media really just makes the statement that 99% of the population is in sunlight this day. So I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, 99%, but they don't talk about the surface area on the earth that's being covered with light. So that's what we're going to look at in this presentation. And we're going to compare it with both the circular level plane earth, which is part of biblical cosmology, versus the globe. So what I've done here is you can see the two options here in the intro slide. Are you going to be moving the slides, or I'm going to do it? Okay.
Oh, it's up to you.
Okay. So like Josh just said, we're going to do 2 separate presentations because, as usual, mine got too long to do one, and we don't want to keep everybody here forever. But the presentation tonight's really going to cover sunlight coverage on the Earth for July 8th, 2024. And then I've actually done all the data for all 12 months in 2024. We'll take a real quick overview of that, and that'll be the end of this presentation. Next time, whenever we can line it up with Josh and his students and everybody else, we'll look at the coverage on Earth for July 1st, January 1st, August 1st, February 1st, and then the equinoxes. These are actually going to cover basically the season changes. That's why I did this. There's a purpose for combining these together, because we'll see what happens with the sunlight on the globe Earth for July 1st and January 1st, 6 months apart. Very interesting. So I'm going to just do some intro here. Each year, news outlets report on every July 8th, 99% of the world's population gets sunlight at the same moment. So here's some things that I pulled from Time and Date. They basically were covering this. Fact check, 99% of the world's population gets sunlight at the same moment on July 8th. So they're asking, is this true? And this one little bit right here, well, on the right side, they basically are saying it's true, because they've checked it out with a couple of people here that posted up what they saw with the sunlight coverage. So these people, in order for them to do that, they're actually getting into the navigational data of the United States Naval Observatory. That's where you go to find all where the sun and the moon is located every day, and every second of the day or minute of the day as it's circling above the Earth. And then you can also find out what the actual sunlight coverage is, which I learned how to do that after 2 years of getting into this stuff. So covers the world's most populated areas. We're going to talk about that because, again, among them, this is what it covers: North America, South America, Europe, Africa, and most of the Asia area. It doesn't include Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, Antarctica, and we'll see why when we look at what they first came up with. So these were a couple of Twitter posts that I copied. You can see this said it was 4 years ago, and they were basically looking at how they figured out what the sunlight coverage is. You can see the full light there. And by the way, the difference in shadowing down is different levels of twilight going farther south. And we'll get into that as well. And then this other, on the right, this other post said, at 11:15 UTC time. So I'm going to key on that 11:15 time, and that's universal time, coordinated time throughout the Earth as the moment, because it depends on where you take the spot of time on the Earth, where you're going to get the coverage. So this is a bigger blown up picture of that. So this is 11:14 UTC time here. And so you can see where the sun is there. It's located, it's actually in Belma in Africa here. Sun's here. So you can see the movement of the wave of the edge of the sun going from east to west. And all the lit up area is the daytime. And I put this night on the sides here to show, you know, where we're at. And there's different levels of twilight. There's 3 different levels of twilight. There's 6 degrees below the horizon, which is civil. Then there's 12 degrees below the horizon, which is nautical. And then there's 18 degrees below horizon, which is astronomical. Then past that, that's when you're fully dark. So that's a transition between full light, you know, when the sun's going down, to full darkness. And you see it's quite a bit of the air surface area to go to twilight. And we'll talk about that a little bit later to compare that with the heliocentric model globe and the circular level plane Earth. So we got to get into latitude and longitude lines on the globe Earth map first. I think I've told you that, Josh, before, that you need to have a class on Navigation 101.
Yes.
People don't understand navigation at all, and they need to. All they know to do is to just use their Google Maps or the maps on the apps on their phones. They don't know, that's all they do. So really, when you look at the Earth's ground and water positioning system, which is GPS, not the other GPS they talk about, it's ground and water positioning system, consists of latitude and longitude coordinates. First, we'll talk about latitude coordinates. They're expressed in positive degrees north of the equator or negative degrees south of the equator, with the equator being at latitude 0, 0. So we look at the globe on the left side. The equator is the horizontal lines, and the equator is the dashed line. So as you go up north, and I show here latitude plus 30 north, it's 30 degrees latitude going north of the equator. And then from the equator going south, you have minus 30 degrees south latitude. So these degrees can be turned into distances in actuality. So there is 360 degrees of latitude along the surface of the Earth, and each degree of latitude is 69 miles. So the reason there's 360 degrees of latitude is if you look at the equator, if we go from equator to North Pole, that's plus 90 degrees. If we go from the equator down South Pole, that's minus 90. That's 180 degrees on this face of the Earth. We're looking at 12 hours of time on this face of the Earth. The other side of the Earth does the same thing. It's on the back side. It goes from minus 90 up to the equator, and then from the equator up to 90. So you got 180 degrees on both sides of the globe, totals to 360 degrees. So now if we take 360 degrees of latitude and multiply it by 69 miles, there's a total of 24,856 miles along the surface of the Earth from north to south, and then back around from south back to north on this. Hopefully everybody can understand that. It's going to come up again when we talk about circular level plane Earth. So let's talk about longitude coordinates. They're expressed in positive degrees east of the prime meridian, or minus negative degrees west of the prime meridian, with the prime meridian being at longitude 0, 0. So you can see on this right picture of the globe, the prime meridian is 0, which is located at Greenwich, England. And so you have positive longitude degrees going west, going counterclockwise, and you can see I've got longitude plus 30 degrees. I'm sorry, we're going to east. We're going to the east on longitude counterclockwise. Plus 30 degrees east, going to counterclockwise, and then we have minus 30 degrees west, going clockwise. So you can see those vertical lines. Those vertical lines, there's 360 degrees of longitude. Those vertical lines are time. They're time. So as we know, either the Earth spins counterclockwise or the sun spins clockwise, depending on which model we use. So there's 360 degrees of longitude for a full circle around the Earth, along the surface of the Earth, which represents 1 day or 24 hours of time, with 15 degrees of longitude representing 1 hour of time. Okay, so when we went east 30 degrees, that was 2 hours east, and if we went west 30 degrees, that's 2 hours west on that line, vertical line. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing explain the same latitude and longitude degrees on the circular level plane Earth, because the latitude and longitude degree coordinates are exactly the same on both models, on the circular plane model as well on the globe, okay? And the same expression here, what I already mentioned for latitude coordinates, but now we have to look at it on the circular level plane. So we see the equator coming around, and then you can see I've got a plus 30 degrees latitude north going toward the center north on the circular level plane. That dot in the middle is center north instead of North Pole. So as we go along the equator north, we got 30 degrees. These little, if you can see them, these lines that go out, they're basically 15 degrees in increments. And then if we go south out, there's negative 30 south. Okay, and so when we go from the center north all the way out to the edge, see now the edge of the circular level plane, that's the south perimeter ice wall, which is Antarctica running around the south. So now if we go from minus 90 to the north center, that's 180 degrees, because we've gone 90 degrees from minus south at the Antarctica to the equator, that's 90 degrees, and from the equator 90 degrees to the north center, then out again to the equator, another 90 degrees, that's 270, and then we go all the way to the outer edge. And so that whole diameter across is 360 degrees. So again, 360 degrees times 69 miles is 24,856 miles. We're seeing something here that matches all the time, which is the diameter of the circular level plane, Earth, is 24,856 miles, yet the circumference of the globe is 24,856 miles. There's a relationship there, a geometric relationship going on. And now for longitude coordinates, the same thing, they're expressed in positive degrees east of the prime meridian and then minus degrees west. So I've got it labeled here, 0 degrees longitude is the prime meridian. So if we go 30 degrees east, which is 2 degrees counterclockwise, we're at 30 degrees east. That's 2 hours east of prime meridian. If we go 30 degrees west, which is 2 hours, we've gone clockwise, okay? So that's how latitude and longitude works on both the globe and the circular level plane Earth. So I wanted to show people that you can actually check this out with your own phone. If you look, for an address or like a location for here, Google Maps lists the latitude and longitude coordinates for Columbia, South Carolina. That's the one I chose on my phone. Coordinates are right here, plus 34 degrees north latitude, which is north of the equator, and minus 81 degrees west longitude, which means it's 81 degrees west of prime meridian. Okay, so this first chart here is, I used Columbia, South Carolina. I've got in the center here basically a map showing what it is. And then if I go a little bit more detail about the city, well, there it is. There is the coordinates, longitude and latitude coordinates to show you that location. And then you can even do it with your own address. Just put your own address in your maps and you scroll down. This was an address I used to live at up in Northern Virginia, 15789 Edgewood Drive, Montclair, Virginia. That's in Prince William County, 30 miles south of Washington, D.C. And so if you scroll down, it tells you what the coordinates are: 38.6 degrees north latitude, 77.3 degrees west, which is tells you exactly where you are located on either both the globe or the circular level plane map. So we talked about this already. Now I'm showing you more of the line. This is the longitude line on the map going from minus 100 degrees longitude over to 0 degrees longitude. That's the horizontal line you see there. That's the diameter of the circular level plane Earth, which is 24,856 miles. We already talked about, how we got there with 360 degrees latitude times 69. It's 24,856 miles in diameter. But now, using geometric equations, we can tell that the circumference of the Gleason's map is diameter times pi. So 24,856 miles times 3.14159. So look at the the circumference of the circumlevel plane Earth is 78,087 miles. And the surface area of the Gleason's map, we know what that is based on the radius squared times pi. These are just basic equations that you all learned back in high school, which most of us probably forgot. But so this tells us the surface area of the circle, inside the circle, is 485,234,861 square miles. So keep that in mind. All right. So now I want to go, since we've talked about 24,856 miles being the diameter of the circumlevel plane Earth, also, and it's also the circumference of the globe, let's talk about the geometric law between the diameter of a circle and the circumference of a sphere with the same length. In other words, I'm going to show here real simple. Circle diameter is 4 inches going across. This represents the circumlevel plane. And this 4 inches is also the sphere circumference right here, which is going to be the globe. Okay. So let's look at, again, at the circle. Go back. We can figure the surface area by using radius squared times pi. So that surface area of the circle, the 4-inch diameter, is 12.566 square inches. Now we have to first figure out what the diameter of the sphere is, but we can figure that out since we know the circumference of it. The circumference is 4 inches. So the circumference is circumference divided by pi. So 4 inches divided by pi, 3.14159. So we get a diameter of 1.273 inches. We can already see that the diameter of the sphere is much smaller than the diameter of the circumlevel plane. But then we can also find out what the surface area of the sphere is. The surface area of a sphere is 4 times the radius squared times pi. That's a standard equation. So now we find out that the area of the sphere is 5.93 square inches. So when we compare that, the surface area of the circle is 2.46 times larger than the surface area of the sphere. We just take 12.566 and divide it by 5.093, it's 2.46. Huge difference in size, okay? And so we can relate that the surface area of the circumlevel plane Earth is 2.46 times larger than the surface area of the globe Earth. And we can reverse that too, and that the surface area of the globe Earth is 41% less than the circular level plane surface of the Earth. So a huge difference in what's going on with this geometric law. So we'll talk about it again here. Now we're going to do the same thing we did with the circumlevel plane Earth, is finding out what its diameter is and what its sphere surface area is. So again, we've taken that 24,856 mile circumference of the globe Earth divided by pi. That's why NASA tells us that the diameter of the Earth is 7,912. They'll move it around from whatever to 7,913, or sometimes I've seen 8,000 miles. But this is the geometric law. This is what's happening. They've taken the circumlevel plane Earth and converted it to a sphere. This is how they geometrically can do it. This is the only way they can do it, by geometric law. Since the globe Earth is a sphere, the surface area of the globe Earth is 4 times radius squared times pi. So there we've got 196,662,730 square miles, which is 41% of what we saw with the circumlevel plane Earth. And here it is right here again. I'm just redoing this because this is very, very important to understand the basis for why the circumlevel plane Earth, which is the biblical creation model for Yahweh's creation, how it got morphed into a globe Earth of this size. Okay. The same equations here. Basically, I pulled it together for those two charts talking about the geometrics of each, the circle and the sphere. Same information here you can see put together on the slide. So I'm going to play an example of a geometric law. I did this. What I did is I went ahead and made a circumlevel plane Earth, the Gleason's map. I made it 9 inches in diameter, and then I found that a baseball that has a circumference of 9 inches. You can see the geometric law here. So let's go ahead and run that. There's no sound to it. I'll probably talk through it, Josh.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
So here you can see I've got 2 9-inch pieces of paper as rulers, and you can see this is the baseball, and then there's the circular level plane Earth. That's the relationship that it looks like. This is the real relationship in terms of its sizes. Okay.
That's cool. So the ball is representative like the globe to scale.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, exactly right.
If you undo all that leather and stitching, it would fill up quite a bit more space. That's essentially what they've done, is wrapping around a ball.
Yeah. So next, I'm going to actually move the baseball off, and then take one of those pieces of paper, the 9-inch paper, and put it on top, so you can see that it's 9 inches in diameter. See, some people would not realize that the circumference of the baseball is that same length, but you'll see.
That's cool.
And then next, Teresa had to do the video here for me because I had to use both hands. I'm going to tape the other 9-inch long ruler onto the baseball. It's hard to do. Keep it tight. When it comes around.
Imagine if it was moving 490,000 miles per hour.
And see right there? Yep.
Wow, that's cool.
Yep. So it gives a better perspective to understanding what that's really doing. That's the lie right here. We're seeing the lie, how they did it. Okay.
That is cool.
And I'm just going to put it back on top of the circular level plane Earth. So that ball is 41% surface area of the circular level plane Earth below it. Okay. I hope that helps people understand that.
Yeah. See, that's what I needed. Oh, I get it now. Yeah. So the math makes a lot more sense for you visual learners like me out there to see it like that.
Right.
That spherical object might look a lot smaller than the land surface beneath it, the flat surface, but it's exactly the same. They've just wrapped it around a ball.
Yep.
You can see that with the ruler.
Yep. And this is a geometric law. It cannot ever change. That's why it's one or the other. And now let's go back to the presentation, and we'll start walking through some information of what's really going to be seen with. Okay. But, oh yeah. So now we have to go, well, wait a minute. Everybody's heard that they're talking about the equator having a bump, right? That it's basically a ellipsoid now. It's an ellipsoid. So I found this little graphic to explain what's going on. So instead of it being a regular circle with 7,912 miles, or maybe 13, all around, they took 13 miles off of the North Pole to South Pole and added 13 miles to the width of it at the equator. It's just amazing. Okay? Yeah. And it's just like, okay, well, how's that work with the difference in the elevation, right? They don't explain that. How can you have 13 miles more bulge on the equator? What would that do to mountains and things like that? But their answer is going to be, oh, well, the water just curves with it. That's what they'll say. But
see, that blows my mind. So that bulge is 13 miles higher.
Yeah, it's each side. So
that would put you in like Mount Everest. Like,
yeah, right. It's way more than that. It's way more than Mount Everest. It's yeah, I think Mount Everest is what, 5 miles maybe?
So the Earth bulge is higher than that. That's what Neil deGrasse Tyson said, and I never thought of it until recently. When you start watching Mount Everest footage of them going that high, if the Earth bulge is higher than Mount Everest, you would assume similar conditions, but no, it's hot. Yeah,
so the surface of the water on this curved Earth is going to be way taller than it's hard to imagine how they figure that out. It's when you start going down that rabbit hole, it's like, I don't want to think about it because it doesn't make sense and it's not true.
Yeah.
So for this presentation, I thought, okay, well, now I need to find out, well, is the geoid, they call it a geoid, is that going to have more square footage now than the sphere? So this is what I'm doing here. I'm going through my, little number crunching here to find out which one's larger. So the surface of the geoid Earth is going to be 4 times the radius of the vertical radius times horizontal radius. So what I did up here is 196,711,914 square miles versus what we've already done. The surface area of the globe Earth is what we've seen here. So, oh, guess what? The geoid Earth is 49,184 square miles larger than the globe. So then this study will use that square footage, okay?
Nice.
Just to play the game. All right.
Yeah.
Right?
To be fair with the globe.
Yeah. Now this is going to get into the important part of what we're going to do in this presentation. Everybody's got to realize we've seen all these pictures, all these graphics of how the sun's hitting the globe Earth. And I just chose different seasons here, but you're always seeing it hit lighting up half of the globe, only half of the globe for all seasons. So this is a geometric limitation of what the sun and the globe heliocentric model can do. The sunlight rays always provides daylight on 50% of the Earth's surface area, no more and no less, always 50%. It can never, ever, ever change. Okay, this is a key. So I'm going to walk through this. The surface area of this spherical/geoid Earth is 196,711,914 square miles. So the sun always provides daylight on 50% of that surface area. So all we do is just divide that number, 196 million, by 2. So now we're finding out, okay, the maximum square miles on half of the Earth being lit is 98,355,957 square miles. No more and no less. Always that number. And when we talked about longitude and latitude, it can only cover 180 degrees of latitude up and down and 180 degrees of longitude, or 12 hours, which makes sense. 12 hours of the 24 hours we'll see light, no more, no less. So this is a geometric law, okay? So now we're going to take a look at the actual data for sunlight on July 8th. First, we're also going to look at, this is basically a different way to see the map of the Earth. It's a Mercator map, but I use this one because I can use this for latitude and longitude degree coordinates to lay out the sun coverage on this. So we can look at it on this map, which we will. And when we do that, now this is a limitation of the sun and the geoid spherical Earth. If you see the down here, this would be if the sun's on the equator. So 90 degrees south would be at, quote, the South Pole. 90 degrees north, between north and south is 180 degrees, or at 90 degrees north. And then the curved lines are limited at 90 degrees to the right and to the left. So that would be 12 hours of daylight. This is the actual limitation of the sunlight on this Mercator map for a geoid or spherical Earth, okay? Then if we look at it on a globe map, we created this. Basically, this is the daylight side of the Earth, which shows it lit up in kind of a yellow color. That's always going to be 98,355,957 square miles of daylight. Again, we're going 180 degrees latitude and 180 degrees longitude. So if you look at these lines, each one is an hour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours. Then on the back side, which I call the nighttime side, no sunlight, and we still got 180 degrees latitude and 180 degrees longitude. We got 12 hours of nighttime. Geometric law for this heliocentric model. You can't change it. So this has got a lot of data on it. Can you blow this up full screen, Josh?
Yeah, I'll full screen that for you.
So it's a lot of stuff. I hope people are tracking this. So over the 2 years of understanding navigation and understanding the United States Naval Observatory data, I've been able now to actually dive in and find out the actual sunlight coverage anytime during the day of the year. This chart shows July 8th, 2024 sunlight coverage on Earth. The sun is located directly at plus 22.40 latitude, so it's north of the equator, and at plus 12.54 longitude, it's not quite an hour east of the meridian. And I kept the time at 11:15 UTC, 11:15 coordinated Universal Time. So what you're seeing on here, location goes 1 through 24. That in essence is going to be like a clock on the longitude line. It's going to go around every hour and show where the latitude position is for the maximum point of daylight for a particular location. This data comes from the United States Naval Observatory altitude and azimuth of the sun or moon during one day. I show the website there. And for the location that I show here, the latitude locations for each longitude, which is an hour time away from each one. The sun is at 0.5 degrees altitude angle or almost at the horizon for all locations, either rising from the east or setting in the west. Locations 1 through 24 are longitude increments of 15 degrees clockwise, with each degree representing 1 hour in time. Location 1 is the same longitude line as the sun. And again, we've already talked about latitude degrees north or south. We talked about that each latitude degree is 69 miles. So as we go along here on the table, again, sun is on longitude 12.54. So my first point is going to just be the southern point on the same longitude line. How far is the sun's daylight going south? And so when I just look at the data, I'll look at longitude line 12.54, and I'll look at, and I have to also change the latitude as well. And once I see the combination of 0.5 degrees altitude, okay, that's where I'm going to stop. Okay, I'm not going to look at twilight. I'm looking at when the sun's still providing light on the earth, but 0.5 degrees is pretty close to being to the horizon. Okay, so the reason I'm talking about distances is because I can tell miles north of the equator on the longitude lines or south, based on if it's south of the equator or north. All right, so on location 1, it's at negative 67.6 degrees latitude, which I can convert to actual miles and multiply that number by 69 and look over here. This is how far south it is on that longitude line. Okay, so it's no longer a mystery. You know, we know exactly the distances of where the sun is and on the latitude and longitude lines, and we understand navigation. And so that's the process here. Note number 4, the sun is always scientifically geometrically limited to 12 hours of sunlight coverage on the heliocentric spherical / geoid Earth model. Longitude coordinates shown in green is the 12-hour daylight side of the spherical / geoid Earth. So you can see, this makes sense, that the sun is located at 12.54 degrees longitude. So location 2 is an hour away, basically going west, 2 hours, 3, 4, 5, 6. So location 7 is 6 hours west of the sun. And then we go down to location 19. Now we're at, well, let's say 24. We're going to go the other way. 24 is going to be an hour east. 23 is 2. 22 is 4. So we get back to basically when we hit the equator on either side, that's as far as the sunlight can go. Sunlight will stop at the equator because that's going to be basically the 12 hours of time. But now when you look at, so geometrically, it's limited to only those 12 hours. There can't be any daylight on the nighttime side, which the locations in red are, but yet we're getting data for it. We're getting data for it. Okay.
Wow, that's cool.
Okay. See that? So, so the data depicts sunlight on the nighttime side, which is scientifically, geometrically impossible. Okay. So I hope people understood that. You can see also, look at the intelligent design. When you look at the equator and you go plus or minus, look at that, minus 32.10, plus 32.10. You can start seeing the intelligent design by Yahuwah of how the sunlight actually is going to hit the earth. It's already there. It's always from the equator. When you go an hour, each hour away from it, you get the same numbers pretty much, you know. So you see what I'm saying here? So like if you went 6 hours from the equator, at location 1, it's minus 67.6. When you go 6 hours away from the equator from 19, it's practically the same. Okay, there's basically beautiful geometry there in terms of the sunlight being balanced. So I want people to see this. Now this was actually using Google Maps, and I could basically show distances or the locations of locations 1 through 24 that were on the Excel spreadsheet. So now we know the sun is. It's located at Bilma, Niger. That's the sun is located at plus 22.4 latitude and plus 12.54 longitude. So G, that's around Africa. We're on the side where Earth's very highly populated. But so location 1, based on data, is minus 67.6 latitude. So it's way far south, but on the same longitude line. Okay, so that's as far as the daylight goes from the sun, from Bilma down to the end of that line. That's where the sunlight is at the altitude of the sun at 0.5 degrees altitude. So it's almost getting ready to go down. So we're going to walk this through, and you're going to see the line. We're going to go clockwise with the maximum distance of sunlight for each location every hour. Oh, well, I wanted to show you here. Look, that sun location is exactly where we're showing it on the data from the Naval Observatory. Okay, see that? Same. So it's matching what they did for this particular picture. So now we've gone 1 hour west, location 2. We're not quite as far south, but now we're in the Atlantic Ocean, but that's 1 hour, and I call it solar time 11. We're going to keep going west or clockwise. And you can see, you'll see the longitude lines and the latitude lines change. So that's location 2. Location 3, it's another hour out. We're at, can I move that? No, I can't. Okay. That's at the next 15 degrees increment of longitude time. And we can see, we keep going over, and we'll see what happens is the latitude will lessen and lessen because it's going to get the longitude lines coming around clockwise, and it's getting closer to the equator. But this is the limitation of sunlight as we go around that bottom edge. Okay, we're still in the Atlantic Ocean. Now we're at Cordoba province. And you can see the latitude is 32.10. So we're coming up, we're heading around for as far as the sunlight can go from the sun near the equator. And now we're at the equator, okay? Because remember, the sun is at plus 22.4 latitude. It's north of the equator. There's the equator, this location. And we're going to keep going around. So we've gone 90 degrees, okay? So this is where there should be no sunlight on the parts of it. So now we're rotating around. We're in the United States. We're actually at Louisiana here. Now we're at north part. We're in Canada. Now we're in British Columbia. Location 10, location 11. So see, we're basically doing the full coverage of what the data shows the sun's doing for daylight. Location 12. Now location 13 is basically the longitude line opposite of the sun. So that basically is going to be showing up now on the other side of the Mercator map. So you'll see it come here. There it is.
Wow.
Okay. And now we're going to come back down. Location 14, 15, 16. And these are hour increments. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. And now we're back 24. It would be basically the last hour, and next time we go, we would basically be back to where we were lined up, okay? So that gives you an idea of what's going on. All the edges of those lines going around is where the sun's daylight is going away, but it's 0.5 degrees altitude at those locations. So now I'm using the Mercator map. I'm saying this would be the expected sunlight coverage on the spherical geode Earth on July 8th, time 11:15. Because now I've moved the sun where actually it's over top of Vilma, okay, it's 22.4 latitude. So I moved it over because that's what we can do with the sphere. We can go right on top of it, and this is the limitation now of 180 degrees latitude and longitude for it. This is the actual data now. You can see here, okay, so there's 0.1 is south of the sun, location 1, location number. So I show you the location numbers as it goes around from the data on the spreadsheet. Sun is zenith at plus 22.4 latitude, plus 12.54 longitude, Vilma, Nigeria. So you can see as we go around, for a while it stays within, on the bottom half. When we get to that equator, is going way beyond the sunlight coverage that the heliocentric model allows.
Wow.
And then we go the other way around. As soon as it's the equator, it's doing the same thing over here. Okay. So daylight coverage over 50% of the geode Earth is shown on either side here in black. So there you go.
That's incredible.
This is physically impossible for the spherical geode Earth to do this. It's limited to be 50% all the time, daylight, nighttime. And again, I'm just showing this to show you that this looks very similar. When you look at the coverage here, you look at my lines, I'll go back and forth, but you can see it's very, very similar. I stayed within the full daylight. You can see that I didn't use any twilight. See that? Oops, I'm sorry. Because you can see that point there, 0.6, right there in South America. It's pretty much the same spot in South America. So the data is very, very on spot. So now let's look at it on this type of a globe map where we've got it. So we've got it daylight side and nighttime side. It's supposed to be 50% of the surface area for both daylight and nighttime. So now what I did here, let me go back. This picture shows the sun on the equator, okay? So now that we know that the sun's actually in a different latitude and longitude location, I'm gonna create it so the sun is in the center of the actual circle, so to speak, or globe. And you'll see, like right now the sun's at 0 degree latitude and 0 degrees longitude. Now when we get here, I've modified it to be exactly what the data shows on the spreadsheet. So now the sun is located right over top of 22.4 degrees latitude. And then see where I've shown the equator now where it's at, because I basically updated the longitude and latitude coordinates to make it so that the sun is directly in the center of the globe here. So you can see minus 67.6 south, plus 67.6 north. So now it's going to match the data. We can now show the location points exactly like we did on the Mercator map. Again, using the same data here, I just showing that again. So here it is. This is showing, and you can see location 1 on the daylight side. It's at the bottom. It's on the southern part of the globe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as we go clockwise. 7 is the equator. It stops there, but then it's lighting this side up because this is what it's showing. Okay, but then when we look at the data that's coming from the spreadsheet, this is what it does on the spreadsheet on the other side, because it basically mirrors. It's a mirror of the data. Like location 6 is a mirror of location 18 on the other side.
Wow.
So this shows you all the daylight on the nighttime side. So it's physically impossible to, for the data that's being shown for July 8th. Yeah, That's why they're saying, oh, it's 99% of the population. They ignore the surface area of what's going on. Okay.
This is huge. This is bigger. Like there's no way around it. You can't say refraction. You have to have a second sun theory popping up. Something has to happen to provide that much sunlight. The dimensions of the globe would have to change drastically.
Right.
Wow.
Yep. So now this is kind of a summary. The actual sunlight coverage on July 8th, 2024 at time 11:15 UTC proves the Earth is not a globe/geode, but instead a circular level plane. Because on a heliocentric globe or geode, is it geometrically and physically impossible for sunlight to exceed 50% of the Earth's surface area. However, on July 8th, 2024 at time 11:15 UTC, we have proven sunlight exceeds 50% of the Earth's surface area and is lighting up nighttime areas of the globe or geoid Earth when it should never occur. Therefore, this evaluation proves the Earth is not a globe or a geoid. All the oceans of the Earth make up over 70% of the Earth's surface. The surface of water always seeks its own level, and surface of never bends or curves. The surface of all oceans and ocean shorelines are at sea level. Land masses are at various elevations above sea level, and ocean floors are at various elevations below sea level. A circular level plane Earth, as depicted on the Gleason's map, is the true geometry of the Earth. Next, we will see how the sunlight coverage on the circular level plane Earth proves the true explanation of sunlight coverage on July 8, 2024 at time 11:15 UTC. Again, we're using the exact same data. Now we're going to lay it on top of the circular level plane Earth, and you will see the beautiful design.
Wow.
Oops, sorry. So this is the coverage. Location 1 is, you can see here's the sun, that's in Bilma, Africa. Location 1 is here, and 2 is going clockwise around, okay, all the way around. You can see the geometry of things working out because it's intelligently designed. And we do see that because the sun is north of the equator, that you're going to have 24-hour daylight north, pretty much north of North Center. You see that, right? And that's why it shows the data there, because it's hitting all longitude lines. It hits all longitude lines. And when you get past North Center, those longitude lines are the ones that were in red, that the geoid or spherical Earth could not see, okay? And so we're going to go back and see this is what's happening here. You've got the daylight going too far out again on the globe map. So it's physically impossible for that to happen. Now what this does is it gives, I use AutoCAD all the time because I'm an architect engineer, and whatever is on AutoCAD is geometrically correct. This is correct to the mile, okay? That's how I was able to, well, the regular geometric equations tells us what the circular level plane Earth is as far as surface area. But you can look here again, it's the same numbering going on from 1 through 24 to go around. So that, and I can do a surface area. I can ask AutoCAD, what's the surface area inside this covered area that's lit up, covered by the sun? And it's 166,383,684 square miles. Now, compared to the circular level plane Earth, that's only 30% surface area of the sunlight coverage. But compared with the spherical geoid Earth, 196,000. Let's see here. Yeah, the geoid Earth is 196,711, 914 square miles. So when you divide that number into 166 million, you get 84% coverage on the spherical Earth. That's what's happening here. Okay. Wow. So it's huge. And again, that gets back to the difference in the surface area. Again, the geoid Earth is only 41% surface area of the circular level plane Earth.
That's incredible.
So we'll get back into that. That pretty much proves, that the data that we're seeing shows that the circular level plane Earth is the correct Earth that Yahuwah would use to create the heavens and the earth. And there are some scriptures referencing the circular level plane Earth. Job 22:14. Thick clouds cover him so he cannot see, and he walks above the circle of heaven. So people will say, well, circle can mean sphere, but no, it's a circle. We've seen the difference between a circle and a sphere as far as its geometry goes. But this is one of my favorite saying scriptures, Job 38:14, the earth takes shape like clay under a seal. Its hills stand out like the folds of a garment. So you see this imprint. It's got the perimeter ice wall, and it's got lands raised above. And so it's a great picture of the circular level plane Earth.
That's cool.
Proverbs 8:27-29, when Yahuwah prepared the heavens, wisdom was there. When he drew a circle on the face of the deep, when he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the fountains of the deep, when he assigned the sea its limits so that the waters would not transgress his command, when he marked out the foundations of the earth. Isaiah 42:22, it is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in. Can you read the next one? The slide thing is kind of in my way. Can you see?
Yeah. Yeah. Job 38.
Yeah.
4-5.
Yeah.
Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measures? Surely you know, or who stretched the line upon it? That measuring line. That is so cool.
Yeah. So there's so many scriptures referencing the face of the earth / waters, which equals a level surface. Surface, face, a curved earth. There's no surface. There's no face there. Okay. Genesis 6:1. Now it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them. You see this a lot in Scripture. Deuteronomy 7:6. For you are a holy people to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for himself, a special treasure above all the peoples on the face of the earth. Ezekiel 34:6. My sheep wander through all the mountains and on every hill. Yes, my flock was scattered over the whole face of the earth, and no one was seeking or searching for them. And so there's a lot of scriptures here that I've just referenced here that you can go and see the face of the earth / waters. It says it both for the earth and the waters. Okay. So I'm hoping this helps people kind of understand that the data that we see from actual sunlight coverage proves that the earth is a circular level plane, which is part of Yahuwah's fantastic creation. Now I'm going to just go through a couple slides here because we've got this problem of why are we always being deceived and not told the truth? Well, Satan is the prince of the air, and he has all authority over the earth. The prince of the air / world is Satan, and he has all authority over the earth. Basically, this is seen in Luke 4:5-6. Then the devil led him, Yahusha, up to a high place and showed him, Yahusha, in an instant, all the kingdoms of the world. So obviously, he's taking him up way, way up there, and I think just below the firmament, because that's probably the only place you might be able to see the whole circle level plane earth. It's huge. And Satan says, I will give you authority over all these kingdoms and all their glory. He, Satan, said, for it has been relinquished to me, and I can give it to anyone I wish. Now, obviously, Yahusha rebuked him, but did not disagree with the statement. Now, so Satan is a deceiver of all truth and uses all his power and authority to hide Almighty Yahuwah, the creator of the heavens and earth, from being known to humanity. That's his main goal. That's Satan's main goal. Genesis 13:3. And the Lord said to the woman, what is this you have done? The woman said, the serpent deceived me and I ate. So when we do a dive into deceive, Strong's H5377, NASA, lead astray, delude, beguile. Satan is a fallen angel, and his abode is limited to the earth's realm because he continually sins against Yahuwah and it's forbidden any access to the heavenly realms. So this is key. I think we need to really realize this, that Satan will never, ever allow the truth about Yahuwah's creation to be revealed to humanity. Satan will continue to lie, deceive, hide, and kill to keep the heliocentric spherical geoid earth narrative in place. This is a key for this thing about any type of final observation, or final experiment. Therefore, any possibility of, quote, an unbiased, truthful scientific observation outcome, unquote, of the sun at Antarctica during or near the winter solstice is futile and will result in maintaining the heliocentric spherical geoid earth narrative. He's never going to give it up. He's not going to allow it. He controls all the elites, everybody, the governments and things like that. Some of these deceptions by Satan may include an artificial sun posing as the sun observed from the location in Antarctica, a huge high-tech enclosed dome structure like we saw in Hunger Games and Truman Show movies posing as Antarctica, drug intervention / mind control of observers, blackmailing of observers, cloning of observers, or death of observers. And you get to this point where the evil has no bounds. The evil has no bounds. So I want to show a little bit about the Sun's Solar Simulator document patented back in April 19, 1966. Solar Simulator, this invention relates to a large artificial illuminating system intended to be used as an artificial sun in the testing of space vehicles and similar equipment. More specifically, the invention comprises a more or less planar array of a large number of modular units, each having a light source and culminating system of being such luminous power and quantity that the total array of these modular units has the approximate intensity of the sun. This is back in 1966.
Wow.
In part, toward the end of the document, although the invention has been illustrated and described with specific numerical data for effective focal length, clear apertures, and light source brightness and size, the actual dimensions of the optical system and type of light source chosen may be varied without departing from the spirit of the invention. Therefore, the invention is not limited to any specific size of optical elements disclosed. The invention may also be utilized for purposes other than solar simulation. So basically, they're saying they can scale this thing up to whatever size they want. Okay? And this is back in 1966.
Wow. And so do you think that, they were going where we're not allowed to go anymore privately? I wonder if they're trying to keep that area lit so they can do things down there, plan deceptions, kind of like the one we have now, but
right.
Like keep the people down there working in full delusion. You wouldn't want them, say there was a hidden nation down there or something, you wouldn't want them knowing about the other people out there, kind of like the Truman Show,
right?
The opposite of what we're undergoing. Trying to keep the gospel from reaching every nation. Create your own nation. Hide it.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
So, bottom line, everybody, we know we have to do our own research and think for ourselves concerning the earth that we live on. And we can do that because the earth is finite. Where we live, it's finite. And we can do the best we can do. We can research things. Again, the surface of any body of water is always level in a glass, aquarium, swimming pool, pond, lake, oceans. The oceans are over 70% of the Earth's surface area. Surface area of all oceans are level, sea level, are contained by the south perimeter continent of Antarctica. All oceanic shorelines of the continents are at sea level. There's no such thing as, quote, curved sea level, which a lot of globe people believe in because of, I'm not saying it. So do you know much about the Caspian Sea, Josh?
No.
I didn't either until this morning. These few slides are here because of what I started thinking about researching this morning. I just typed in world's largest lake. And believe it or not, they consider the Caspian Sea a lake, but it's also the world's largest inland body of water. So I researched it. It's the world's largest inland body of water, which is located to the east of the Caucasus Mountains and to the west of the vast area of Central Asia. The Caspian Sea is nearly 750 miles in length from north to south and the surface of the entire sea is around 90 foot below sea level. You imagine that? It's 90 foot below sea level, depending on the rain activity. Okay. So, guess what I did this morning? Play video 2.
Let's check this out.
So on the left here is a Google map. So I'm showing the distance of north to south. So this distance is showing 719 miles of water in the Caspian Sea, north to south, or south to north. And on the right is the topographic map from the USGS that tells me what the elevation, surface elevation of the water is, 95 feet, minus 95 feet. So I'm going to go all the way north now, minus 95 feet.
Dang.
You can tell me that's a curved surface, minus 95 feet.
That is cool.
Anybody can do this. You can go on the topographic, both these websites, and then play around, and you'll see all the oceans are at sea level. When you look at the shorelines, they're all at sea level. They're not curving any at all. Okay. So using this information, I can now get back on my AutoCAD and show what's going on. I think that's the end of the video. It was a real short one.
That's cool.
And get back on the presentation. We're almost done.
Okay, let's see. Where is it? There it is. Oop, sorry.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So Caspian Sea, south to north distance observed data. So I don't know if you can see that very well. Hopefully, I'm sorry, I went the wrong way again. So on the AutoCAD, the globe Earth, this is the circumference, 24,856 mile circumference all around there. And now that I know that the surface water from south to north is 719 miles, all I have to do is divide that by the circumference of 24,856 miles, and I get 0.028926. Then I just have to multiply that by 360 degrees of a circle. So it's 10.41 degrees of the circle. That was the distance of going from south to north. Okay, so that's what I did here. I created a 10.41 degree arc here. And so now I'll zoom in on this because this is going to show me the information I want to see. So that's a 10.41 degree, basically arc or part of the circle of the Earth. And so that's the length of the Caspian Sea is 719 miles. The Caspian Sea surface elevation is 95 feet below sea level. Okay, but the Earth, this is what the Earth's curving, and this is a measurement on AutoCAD. There should be 65 miles of curvature, but it's not seen in observation. The curved Earth is telling you there's 65 miles of curvature, but we don't see it on the observation on the topo map. Okay, the Earth is a circular level plane as shown on the Gleason's map. Satan and the evil leaders of the world slyly tell you the Earth is a circular level plane with a United Nations map/logo. There it is. They tell you. They don't want to know your truth. So, yeah. Oh, so go ahead and put up the 12-month sunlight. So I've also done data research on all 12 months of 2024. So you can see, we can see that it's not just this one day, okay? It happens all the time. We'll just go through here a real quick overview of this, but this is the data. This is January 1. Again, you can see that you can always see this data in red where it's going on the nighttime side of the Earth. Same way with February, all the way through March. But so I've actually done more detailed analysis like we did for July 8th for January, February, January, February, July, and August first day of those months. And then also for the spring equinox, because those are interesting things to look at too. But you can see, you're going to see the same information show up that 12 hours, it should be nighttime. There's there's actual data going across the other side. So that's it. You're muted. I think you're muted. Uh-oh.
Oh, thanks for letting me know I'm muted. Sorry about that. Didn't want to have any background noise during the presentation. But yeah, that was very interesting. If you guys missed this or you're joining late, I see people in the comments. We got somebody from Facebook watching saying, yeah, we should look into the globe proofs a little more. I highly encourage you, be skeptical, look into these things, and to give you just sort of a cliff note. Let me exit the full screen layout. Cliff notes version of that first presentation, which, my goodness, it's powerful knowing the geometry of, and you say geoid, and it's funny, I looked that word up because I don't usually hear that with the Earth, but look up the word geoid, and what it brings you is this like weird shaped, it just looks like somebody took what we picture being the globe and like squeezed it. It's missing water. It's this weird shaped Earth. I don't know. It's interesting without the water, what it looks like, if that's, the construct that they have made. But yeah, very powerful, seeing that only 50% of the world is going to receive sunlight. You cannot manipulate that. I mean, maybe a little bit with the atmosphere, but not to the degree that George was showing with his calculations using the data. It's phenomenal. And it shows you why things like this, which used to confuse me because I would see this picture and I saw a meme somebody had shared that said that on this cartoon world, it is dark in Tokyo, Moscow, London, New York, Los Angeles, Honolulu, and Sydney simultaneously. And I thought, what are they talking about? Let me overlay this globe onto the map to scale and use a daylight map of Earth like you were doing here, George. And I did this years ago, not even thinking, hey, why don't we do the math and use data? Like, I just thought, surely somebody will have an explanation for this. And now that I'm seeing your presentation, that's why their globe images, this is fully illuminated, half of the globe here, why it doesn't match up with daylight maps of the Earth. And like I said, you would need a second sun. I'll show you some imagery here. I made some cartoons, George, to go along with it. They use cartoons to indoctrinate us.
But all it is cartoons.
Yeah, there's George's imagery. And so I tried to use a visual of that for you visual people. Like he used the baseball. That was brilliant. I like that. With the numbers, 50% lit, 50% dark.
Yeah.
Like you have to stick to that. Like you wouldn't see what he was showing us in his presentation with the part of it being covered. Let me see if I can find my slide right there. That white line, I did it to scale with his data.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much sunlight on that day, July 8th, it would be bleeding over. So this area on the top of that white line would be lit by the sun.
Yep.
According to their data, no way around it. You would literally need a second sun. Refraction cannot do that.
No.
So, I mean, it's so simple. When George sent me the presentation and I'm going through the slides, my heart's racing. I'm like, has no one done this? Like, why is it now that I'm seeing this? Like, I feel like this should have been out a long time ago, but there's just so many other proofs we're compiling. It's hard to sort through them all. Right. And this is one of them. So second sun is going to have to come to the rescue. And maybe they'll say that simulated sun comes out on that particular day that they made way back when. But yeah, phenomenal stuff there. I mean, just brilliant.
And also when you look at twilight tells you that the sun is close. And, some other presentations I've had, basically the data, navigational data shows that the sun is very close. It's 3,170 miles above sea level. When you do the double triangulation from the equator, south of the equator and north of the equator, 45-degree altitude angle, it's there. And it all shows the intelligent design of Yahuwah, because that's how we get twilight. That's how the sun is limited with its latitude. It has a limit to its latitude sunlight coverage, which is going to be around 90 degrees, right? Because when the sun is on the equator, it's going to project right at the edge of the north center. Yeah.
That's cool. Great stuff. Thanks for being so thorough. I can't wait to go through this stuff and learn more, because I was trying to learn and keep up. I'm telling you, My wheels were turning. I was trying to follow the whole thing. So
right, go back to where you showed my thing of the daytime, nighttime. I want to
okay,
just
let me
explain
see.
something real
Pull that
quick
right
too.
back up. There you go.
Yeah, that's good. So whenever we schedule the next presentation to talk about the other months, like January, February, July, and August, and then March 20th, which was the equinox. It's going to be important for those because with the globe model, so the reason the daylight coverage worked so well on the circular level plane is because on the globe model and the Gleason's map, North Center and North Pole are very close to what it would represent on both models, because you've got the North Pole at one point, at the top point, and you've got the center north at one point. So when the sun coverage is pretty close to as far as now, when the sun goes south, guess what they do? They mirror the data. They falsely mirror the data. So what they'll do is they'll show this on this. Now it's in the top part here for like in this case, January would be, the coverage would be down at the bottom here. They just mirror it. They have to. That's why they try to justify the 24-hour sun.
Yeah.
And when you look at the data, we'll see the data. It does not work at all. At all. It still proves that there's too much light. And then when you look at it, the coverage of light on the Earth at that time, it's 84%. It's terrible. So anyway, we'll get to that whenever we can next presentation.
Yeah, I look forward to that because you can't stretch the globe numbers to cover that much more surface area on the back side of the globe without another sun. I mean, I'm trying to think of a way to do it. There's just not another way to do it.
Well, most people just go along their day. They see the daytime come, nighttime come. They're not going to check this stuff out, and they know that. The people know that. Nobody's going to. And people only really, when navigation goes, they really only care about the actual location of the sun and the moon for navigation. Mm-hmm. And I will say that the navigation data for the sun and the moon is perfect all the time. They can't lie on that, right?
Yep.
But they can lie on the daylight coverage, which we're seeing.
That is cool. So that's why 99% of the world can be in sunlight at the same time. It's going way too far than it should be able to go with the globe dimensions.
And also because of where it was time-wise too. Time-wise, it was right over Africa where you have the huge populated areas. See, they're ignoring the actual surface area. They talk about population, but 11 or 1115, it's always going to be over at that 12.54 longitude, which is over Africa, and you've got Asia, you got India, China, all those areas were huge populations. Yep.
Yeah. And these are things Eratosthenes couldn't do back in the day. He couldn't even use a flashlight. We're learning that when we're looking at why did he come to the conclusion he did with his obelisks and stuff. Man, it gets dark. I was looking after we did our lessons. I'm looking further into where he's from and trying to get that data. And the guy is literally in a town, Cyrene, where there is a temple for Apollo, or sanctuary for, they call it a sanctuary for Apollo, and the temple of Zeus in the same place. And the guy was a Zeus worshiper. So there's religious reasons why these people wanted a sun god model. They were literally devout, worshiping sun gods. These people were. It's mentioned in the Bible as well. And I had a quote pulled up here. This is from the Mr. Heliocentric or sun god centered model creator. That's what heliocentric means, centered around sun god. Right. This guy obviously read 1 Timothy. I don't know why it's out of alignment here. Sometimes StreamYard does that. But remember that verse. A lot of people know that verse in 1 Timothy chapter 6 that says, I'll read the bottom part here. Laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come. They know deceptions are around the corner. They were already at work. That they may lay hold on eternal life. And he's talking to Timothy here. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science falsely so called. So avoiding that false science uses the word babblings. But look at Mr. Heliocentric warrior over here. He says something that shows me he's probably read this verse. There may be babblers, wholly ignorant of mathematics, who dare to condemn my hypothesis upon the authority of some part of the Bible, twisted to suit their purpose. I value them not. So he does not value people quoting the Bible.
Right.
And now we have someone here, George, quoting the Bible, but using math, not ignorant of math, having tools that this guy did not have. The guy didn't even have a telescope. So it's like that's the kind of person we're up against, someone who does not value the word, or people talking about the word and saying that the word has authority, which it does. You can prove that it's true. And so that's what we're up against. It is a religion. He does hate people quoting the Bible. You can read it right there in his own words. We're not just attacking a mathematical construct. It's called the sun god worshiping model for a reason. Heliocentric, solar, even the word solar system is centered around the sun god Sol Invictus. It's darker than it seems. And like George said, the enemy is controlling these lies, putting them out there. They call him the father of lies for a reason. They were in lying signs and wonders when they were in Egypt, but they got out of Egypt. Fortunately, they kept going back, or fortunately, they got out of Egypt. Sadly, they kept going back to the lies, and it's time to come out of those lies yet again. And so we're blessed to see proofs like this. This is powerful stuff. If you missed it, go back, watch it. Take notes. This is a classroom experience. George is laying out stuff that's more complex than what I learned in my college classes and all of my college math classes that I struggled in. Like, this is far more information and relevant information. It's like, people always go, when can you use math? When are you going to use that? He's proof that you can use math to prove all things and prove that our Father is telling the truth about his creation. It's awesome. So thanks, George.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. I know you've probably got a lot more truth seeking to do. This guy is full time. I've been to his house, and it's awesome. It's a beautiful thing. The mad scientist going to work. He's got his lab. He's making rocket fuel. He's doing all these things. He's got vacuums. So a great blessing to have George on our side doing this for free. I mean, I couldn't pay somebody to do all this stuff. Like, this is hours and hours worth of work. I would assume you probably spend 15 hours a day researching, putting stuff out there, creating these presentations.
Teresa feels like I've left her for a while.
Yeah. So thank you, Teresa, his wife. She's awesome. Both of them are awesome. They also do ministry work for free on the side, music with their ministry, going out and just giving it all to a great cause, because they can both sing. They're musically talented as well, not just mathematically. There's music talent there. Both of them. What a power couple. So always doing good for
So I'm now getting ready. I'm switching now to get ready to start recording the sun shadow for the fall equinox. It's coming up.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, he's got the sundial too. So he's tracking that, keeping data, doing what they fear us doing. They don't want us doing all this research and looking at their lies more closely, because it looks good at the surface. Like you said, George, just going outside, watching the sun come up and go down. That's how we believed it. I'd go, well, the sun's moving. I guess I'm moving, Never thought that when I turned on my ceiling fan, like, oh, my house is moving, like never thought about it that way.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, Josh, thanks for having me on. Love you, brother. Love your Creation Standard School. It's such a blessing for people, and honoring and glorifying Yahuwah.
Yeah, it's been a blessing. Our students are the best, I'm telling you. So you guys, Creation Standard students, if you've got any questions, let us know. I was trying to keep an eye on the Creation Standard questions. I didn't see any popping in, but there were some people watching. So that's historic. First time we've streamed live from there. First guest speaker ever. And we've got people joining us from Facebook and YouTube as well. So thank you guys.
If anybody has any questions, Josh, I guess I can try to answer those through questions on the actual presentation later on, or yeah.
If I see any questions, I'll pull them up. But I see Kelly over there in the crowd. KG Bear, good to see you, brother. Hopefully he's still here. Said the Jedi said, "Can people see my posts? I get censored." I see you. The Jedi. Great to see you. One love. The utter ignorance from this video, absurdly pathetic. Thank you, Jesus. Jesus Pena. Love you. Love you, Jesus. And Noah's Adventure. There you go. Yeah, he's awesome. One of my great students. He did a real good video presentation of the crepuscular rays, how he replicated that on a small scale. Excellent video. The work these guys are doing is phenomenal. It's the best work I've seen. And there's a stigma with learning from home, but I'm telling you, I've learned more as a teacher teaching this way, focusing on intelligent design and the biblical earth model than I've learned in a classroom with a script, because that's what they give you in the classroom. Here's your script. Stay stuck to the script. You can't deviate from the script very far, because everything's going to be on a test. It's high stress. Your job's tied into these test scores. Like, it's very stressful. And so people get stuck on that script, and we have been breaking out of the script, and it's phenomenal. The things we're seeing, the things I'm learning, the things they're learning, it's powerful. The
It
spirit.
would be interesting to see if we could get public schools or even just whatever, public education to address navigation and use the data
Yeah.
on the that they come to see the truth themselves eventually.
Yeah. But we're getting so stunted from doing that. Like, when I was younger, it seemed random at the time, but we had a person, they were watching us and like babysitting us. And I remember he's like, "You guys know how to use a road map?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "Well, I'm going to show you how." And so he set us down on using the latitude and the longitude. You fold it out and finding your location based on a number, and like
Exactly right.
all these things he's teaching us. And I'm like, this is impressive, because back in the day when you would go on a road trip, you couldn't pull up MapQuest and GPS and all that
Right.
stuff. You just had to know where you were going and find it on a map and have the road atlas with you. And
Yeah, if you're going across 3 or 4 states, you had to have maps of each state then to figure out which one to switch to when you got there.
yeah, I remember going to the gas stations and buying the maps. I'm like, "God, I'm lost. Can I buy a map over here?" And you buy it, and you're
Right.
like, "Where are we? Oh, there we are."
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fun times. I forgot how much fun that was, navigating when you're stopped. So many times you would stop at a gas station and go, "Excuse me, where am I?" And they'd tell you, and "Now, how do I get to the interstate to go
Right.
this direction?" And
Yep.
I got pointed the wrong way by 4 different gas stations once. Then a 1-hour trip turned into a 7-hour trip in
Wow.
the good old days. Is there a way to get a message when class starts? I put Cap to help. Get a message. Trying to make sure I understand the question correctly. When class starts. Yeah, to ask a question. When class starts, I'm assuming that's what you're saying. Yeah, when class starts, if you have questions about the stuff, I will try to simplify it. And if it gets too far over my head, we'll be reaching out to George and having him help us out a little bit. I may have his phone number just in my phone, so I can wake him up in the morning like, "We started and we need you."
Anytime, Josh.
Yeah. So it could be fun. It could be a lot of fun. I'd hate to have him go through all the different, because it's like we do like 5. I do, I guess, 4 lectures a day, 9, 11, 1, and 7 on Mondays, and it's all Earth Foundation. And then Tuesday, it's like a mix of life science and firmamental breakdown, which firmamental breakdown will go a lot more in depth.
Mhm.
But yeah, we got some of the best.
Nice.
So yeah, any questions you guys have? Let me see if I see any questions real quick outside of that one. Don't see any all cap questions. Is there a way to get a message? Yeah, you can send us a message if you have a question for Creation Standard, thecreationstandard@gmail.com. If you want to support Creation Standard so we can continue doing it, I'd like to do it next year as well and further into the future. Right now, it's getting a little tough. It's looking like we may just be doing this year if we can't get more support, but we're hoping and believing for more support. We have a P.O. box now, and that should be in the description. If it's not, I will add that. I cannot remember if I put that in the description, but we finally got a P.O. box. We had to break down and get one. And so should be somewhere. I just don't have the chance to go over there and look for it. But yeah, we're excited about tomorrow. We're going to be covering this stuff, blowing the Eratosthenes, sun god worshiping, obelisks and shadows out of the water. Like I said earlier, it's obelisks. Because you can't get a straight answer when you look for the stuff online. It's sticks and shadows, wells and shadows, but it's obelisks. That's what it was. And the obelisk that he used in Alexandria, I believe, was moved to New York City in Central Park. The exact same one. They moved it in the 1800s to New York City. Like, these things are important to them for a reason.
Yeah.
Why would you want to move this megaton structure that's been there for years and years to New York City? It's not beautiful. It's an obelisk. It's just with hieroglyphs in it. Like, why move it? Oh, sun god worship. That's why. Things are in every main world power type of place. Like all these worldly powers, they have those sun god worshiping symbols there. the Washington Monument right there in DC,
Yeah.
where you used to, around where you used to live,
Yeah.
Devil's Capital, DC. Been there this summer.
Used to work in DC for years, right in DC for quite a while.
That's rough. There's a lot of indoctrination stations there. Air and Space Museum, Fake History
Oh, yeah.
Museum, like
Yeah.
they're double teaming. They're like, we got the fake space, and then the fake history. We'll just keep. It's free. Come on in, send people, and it's just like revolving doors. People going in and getting indoctrinated, coming out, and it's heartbreaking to see. I tried getting video of the Air and Space Museum, but my heart was sunk down so low. It was like a funeral. I couldn't watch. I was like, I gotta go. I'm done. I was trying to film the video, and I just was too down. I was like, I can't. I don't want to put a downer video up. I want it to be upbeat, and I was just too depressed. But well, I'll let you get back to what you're doing, George. I know you got a lot going on. Let's see, Eratosthenes. Yeah. If this session is recorded to watch later, is this? Yeah, this is live on YouTube. Go to our Founded Earth Brothers channel or Creation Standard. It's also live on Creation Standard YouTube channel as well. So this is recorded. You can go back and watch it. And if it's on Facebook, I think it saves it. You can watch the lives afterwards. It's the first time it's let us go back live on Facebook. They blocked us from Facebook.
Interesting.
For some reason a while back. I forget why they blocked us. It was like, you're blocked. You're banned.
They might get banned again once they see what's on there.
Oh yeah, this is too much. Like this destroys the globe. Like you can't unmath your way out of this and refract your way out of this with refraction and bending light. Light would have to go like there's just no way. Like that's when I saw this, I was like, this is the final observation. That's why I called it that. 'Cause like, we don't need to go and risk our lives going to Antarctica and experiencing some other deception down there. You can't seeing the sun or whatever you're going to see down there, if you saw it for that long, they act like we're afraid of that. Like it's not going to curve water. The water's still going to be flat.
Right.
You know, exactly, we're still going to be immovable. Like,
that's why I'm concerned for some folks that are basically flat earthers that are willing to go down there. It's like, I mean, evil abounds, and it's, you kind of put yourself into some real danger there.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. I have children, I have children, a wife, and even though I've got life insurance now, I'm not risking it.
I think Widget's planning to go. Like, I was surprised he said that.
I love that guy. That would be a bad loss.
Yeah.
Praying for their safety. And because like, it's one thing, like I could say, oh, I wouldn't lie. If you brought me down there, I'm telling the truth. But once they say, well, this is what's going to happen to your family.
Yeah, right.
What am I going to do? Am I going to look at my 2-year-old son and go, I'm telling the truth? It's hard. You don't know. You don't know what you're going to do with the blackmail. You have no clue.
Blackmail. It could be so many different things. You just don't know what they're going to be. But there's no rules for evil. Evil will do whatever it takes. Yeah,
they've done so much worse. The things that we imagine, it's worse. And that's what the people that have come out of that stuff, the elite. My brother, because we hear about it, and I remember thinking, this stuff is so dark. Is it really this dark, or is this just kind of getting too conspiracy theory type? And he talked to a lady that was born into the Bavarian Illuminati, which I didn't even know what Bavarian Illuminati was. I just thought there was Illuminati, and that was it, Right. And she's verified your worst nightmares, the things you hear about. She said, it's that way and worse. And man, my jaw was dropped to the floor. Sadly, the conversation that we did on Zoom back then, I muted myself so that I wouldn't be in the way while my brother was talking to this lady. And the footage, or the audio, once I hit play after it was done, I recorded it. There was no audio. So me muting myself muted the entire thing, which I didn't even think about that. It was dumb on my part, but I didn't want to make a background noise and mess with their conversation. So I had front row seats to the most interesting conversation in the world at that point, and didn't save it. So we redid it. And then she got scared the second time and said, I don't want this shared. And so it was like, so my brother may have it somewhere, the conversation, but she didn't want to share it. And I want to respect her. She was afraid. She's seen the darkness. Once you've seen that stuff, the fear, man, has to haunt you after you've seen something.
Yeah.
God is with you. Nothing can prosper formed against you. Yeah, like we were reading about with Abraham yesterday, going into Egypt, leaving with more than he came with every time. You know,
right.
Egypt, and then with Abimelech.
Amen.
Yeah. Well said. So how do they say? I saw a question. How do they say seeing a 24-hour sun will prove the globe? See, it doesn't prove the globe. Like the way the firmament works, like lights in the firmament, not to hijack the refraction thing, but like if you've seen something underwater, it's not always right where you see it. It can change based on refractive properties. The firmament's unique. I don't know if you could see it, it would be something unique.
What's really interesting, and we'll get it to the next presentation, but when you look at the Gleason's map, if you've got a map, take a look at the December solstice and read what it says. It says 80 degrees south is where sunlight stops. And past that, it's nothing but darkness and unknown regions of ice.
Wow.
So why would they put that on there if they didn't actually go out that far and see it?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, that's interesting. The guy that made the map reminds me of you. I'm seeing his little drawings in the corner with the sunlight distribution, and I'm like, it looks like you made that with your data. This guy was doing that without a computer back then. What a brilliant man. I've got his book over here. Mike from Flat Earth Archive sent it to me. Is The Bible from Heaven, Is the Earth a Globe? It's a good book.
Well, the only reason that it would not prove a globe, it would not disprove it, right? It would not disprove it, probably.
Yeah.
Because if they see that, it's doing the same thing it does on the North Pole, which is a lie.
No, I just have a hard time picturing the sun being above the globe and then getting to the other side of the globe without having a 24-hour sun in other places. It's like it just skips the other parts. It's weird how it can go from top to bottom and just, I don't know. It's never made visually. It just doesn't make sense to me how it can do that.
Yeah, I mean, on their model, the Earth is just spinning, and it's the one that's changing the latitude locations. But we know that it's the sun doing it itself during the seasons. It's rotating around. So, yeah, it is physically impossible for the sun to do a 24-hour sun during any of the winter months, any of them.
Yeah, exactly. Impossible on a ball.
Exactly right.
The flood on a ball, just imagining that. Imagine a ball covered with water, and a little arc going around. Like, where did the water come from? Where did it disappear to? You know, you open up those fountains and went down there where the magma was. It would have put the magma out, and there's no more magma core.
Yeah, they tell us there's magma, but they've only drilled down 7 miles. It's like, okay, that's a bunch of graphics too, and made up stuff.
I've got some funny graphics with that I have to share. I got to share those memes with the holding a ball of magma with a thin crust. Just imagine.
There's no way in a ball for everybody to see Yahushua when he comes back on the day of the Lord, right? I mean, well, you'll use your phone. You'll see him on your phone. It's like, okay, whatever.
That's what I said. I was like, my iPad. Glad I got this. I'm not going to miss the return. I got an iPad, an internet. Nothing's stopping me.
But you have to have it on then to see him.
Yeah. What if the battery dies? You missed the return. Sorry. No resurrection for you, buddy. You should have had cable too. You lost out. All you off-grid truthers. Gonna miss the return on the globe. Just kidding. I feel bad. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be making fun of the globe. I know. I feel bad. It does. I believed it. So I'm sorry. I'm not making fun of anybody that believes it. I
we all were there before. We all were there before, but we ended up searching for more truth.
Yeah.
We wanted to know the truth. And
got to get humble.
Yeah.
It took some miracles to humble me enough to look into it. Many powerful miracles. Mercy, enduring forever. Love beyond comprehension. Patience. Like, I don't know how he kept picking me back up. Like, I imagine creating the things the way he did and being so smart and seeing how he does things with intelligent design. Why was he interested in saving me? You know, like, what made, but it's like, you're his inheritance. He is looking forward to seeing his inheritance. He's not looking forward to inheriting mountains of gold, treasures, and streets of gold and all that. He's looking forward to seeing his inheritance. That's his joy. Yeah. You guys, his inheritance, his elect. Hallelujah.
Amen.
That's us. You're his treasure, and the world is trying to tell you don't matter. You're random.
Exactly.
Now be scientific. Get into science. You're a random nothingness on a rock. But here, have fun learning about it. Kids are coming alive. The students I have are really excited. I mean, their learning is exponential when you start going into the creation. Like, I wish I could have done that in school.
Yeah.
Imagine where you would be. You'd have done this research in like 5th grade. You'd have been. You'd have had this mapped out way back when.
When we moved down here, it was in the midst of the 2020 scamdemic, and of course we were starting to go, okay, something's not right. We really started praying about. I prayed every morning, practically 4 a.m. in the morning. I just get up and start praying to Yahuwah, basically saying, protect your humanity, protect from evil. And I think that whole thing started it. I had no idea I'd be doing what I'm doing now. No idea.
Yeah,
No
isn't that
clue.
crazy? Like,
It's
yeah,
like, oh my goodness. And then it's like, every time I think about something, I'm going to look into this. And then some truth comes out of it that can apply to, you know, the creation or just where we live, you know?
yeah. You
Yeah.
can't imagine the old you looking at the present day you going,
Right.
what are you doing talking about geocentric worlds, biblical earth stuff to the whole world? Like, because back then we didn't know there was a biblical earth model. There was the
Right.
globe, but it was reality. And then there was the flat disk earth that the
Right.
dumb ancestors believed in, and it's been debunked, but
Yeah.
it's crazy to believe we're here.
It's a blessing to be alive this time too, you know?
Yeah.
It really is to learn this stuff and just realize what other truth we need to keep searching for that he wants us to know.
Yeah.
That's why we keep doing the Bible studies and digging in the word and,
Yeah. It's a spirit-led journey. He's leading, like I said, his inheritance to his avenues of truth that matter to him. And that's what was hard for me, because there's a lot of things that and you can understand when you're navigating something where you're wrong, because you will have anger for no reason. Same thing like when you're dealing with people that don't, that are coming at you about the globe is real, and they're angry and they're mad that you believe that the earth isn't moving.
Right.
I'm finding when I get that anger towards somebody, I'm usually wrong. If you're triggered for no reason, step back and go, am I right? Don't just pray for the other person, pray for yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's about doing what makes our Father happy, even if it's different than most of the world. If you're not getting persecuted right now, chances are you need to search a little harder. If you're not ostracized and kind of outcast, pushed aside, keep looking.
Yeah.
You'll get there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, George, I don't want to keep you. I know I like to talk forever. I feel like I haven't done a hangout in forever. We're already starting week 5 of Creation Standards. So I've put live hangouts on the back burner for a little while, just getting all that done, because Sabbath, I just step back and we just enjoy the peace and relax. And then Sunday we get straight to work, and it's off for the next week, but it's been a blessing. It's not too late to join either. Some people think it's week 5, I can't join. It's not too late. All of our pre-recorded stuff is there. You can jump into any of the lives. We've got the best people. It's phenomenal.
So good to hear.
Yeah. Well, everyone joining us, thank you very, very much. Thanks for all your support, your prayers. It's making a difference, keeping us motivated, keeping us humble, keeping us in check, correcting us when we're wrong, using the Holy Spirit's guidance to help you figure out if we're telling the truth, and if we're wrong, to correct us.
Right.
So we're humble enough to know that we can be wrong, but we love you. The Father loves you guys, and we will see you next time.